The American men's soccer pyramid is weird. It's filled with competitors and upstarts. It's a misshapen pyramid, really, one that probably would not have made the cut in ancient Egypt. Today, I'm here to explain it. Hi there, my name is Joe Lowry, and I'm an American soccer expert. I write for Backheeled.com and ESPN, and I follow this sport so closely that it's probably not good for my ability to be a well-rounded human being, but it's great for my ability to explain the weird American soccer pyramid. Now, why is the pyramid so weird? Well, much of the current American soccer professional landscape started long after the professional game had taken root in countries all over the world. American soccer then tended to follow American sporting structures with single entity leagues and a lack of promotion and relegation, rather than the structure used by most of the rest of the world, where we see fairly straightforward pyramids that flow from one level to the next, where there's one league at the top of the pyramid, one league underneath that, and so on until you get to the lower levels. American soccer, with its late start, isn't like that. There's no open system with promotion and relegation that governs the pyramid. It really is about classification, not promotion and relegation. No, the USL, we should note, the United Soccer League, has publicly announced plans to implement Pro-Rel within its organizations. We'll talk about that later a little bit, and we're going to talk about that in the future as well. But even still, if the USL does that, it will not trigger an open system. It would simply be some form of Pro-Rel between USL-operated leagues. So to recap, the American soccer pyramid is weird. What does it actually look like? Well, let's start at the top and work our way down, starting in Division 1 with Major League Soccer. There are 13 teams in MLS, 27 in the US, and because this is all really complicated, there are 3 more in Canada. This is a single entity league. I mentioned that term earlier. That means that MLS, as a central entity, acts as an owner, while investors, which we might think of as team owners in a traditional sense, they buy operating rights to teams. Now, this allows MLS as a league to manage revenue and expenses, and crucially, back when the league first launched in 1996, it helped them avoid bidding wars between teams that would raise expenses, and they didn't want to do any of that. Now, right now, MLS is trying to find its next step. They're seeking to attract more talent to the league and build a better product with a calendar change. They're proposing a calendar change for 2027 and 2028. That rule has passed. We're going to see MLS shift to a European-style fall to spring calendar in that season. We'll discuss the impact that that change could potentially have in a future video. MLS, though, is the biggest name still in American soccer. It is the biggest entity in the American men's soccer pyramid, and it is a first division league. Now, the other major player in the men's professional game is the USL, the United Soccer League. That's an organization that governs multiple leagues at multiple levels of the American soccer pyramid. Now, the USL has announced, along with intentions to start Pro-Rel, they've announced an intention to start a Division I men's league as well. They can't do it yet, though. And this is an interesting moment here. They can't do it yet because U.S. Soccer sanctions leagues under a set of bylaws known as the Pro League Standards. Now, these Pro League Standards are what it says on the can. They're rules about standards, ranging from the number of clubs that a league at each level needs to have, the size of stadiums in those leagues, ownership net worth, and more. For a D1 men's league in the United States, those rules show that a league must have 14 clubs by the 3rd year of being in existence. And all of those clubs have to play in stadiums with a minimum capacity of 15,000 people. Right now, the USL doesn't have 14 clubs. They don't have a path to get to 14 clubs that has stadiums of that size. Now, there are other requirements here about ownership and net worth and where teams are located across the country. The reality is that right now, the USL does not have those boxes checked to launch a Division I men's league, though they are apparently working towards that goal. They may someday get there, but MLS right now remains the only Division I league in the United States. Now, let's move into Division II, where USL pops up again, this time in a real way. The Division II men's league right now in the United States is the USL Championship. That is the only Division II men's professional league in the U.S. They've got 25 teams slated for the 2026 season in the USL Championship. In general, there is less stability in this league than there is in MLS. Now, there are multiple teams that have either folded or suspended operations over the last 2 seasons. Still, I will say the USL Championship and the USL as a whole is more stable now than it has ever been before. And they're trying to make a play for larger growth, both at a local level and at the national level, with their D1 proposal and the Pro-Rel proposal. Right now, the USL is really kind of making its name for itself as a budding place to find young talent. And there's a couple of good examples here, even just in recent years. The El Paso Locomotive, a USL Championship team in Texas, developed Diego Luna and helped him sign for Real Salt Lake. They got a transfer fee for that move. And now, Diego Luna is a favorite of Mauricio Pochettino with the U.S. men's national team. That is one high-profile move that the USL was very actively involved in, and the USL Championship team was very actively involved in. Another one of those moves is Louisville City, who helped Joshua Winder move to Benfica from the USL Championship club all the way over to one of the biggest clubs in Portugal. I'm curious to see how the USL grows in the coming years. Right now, it does look like youth development is a key tenet of their existence and of their philosophy as a league. Now, that is the only Division II league. MLS does not operate a Division II league, at least not yet. And that takes us to Division III, where we come in touch with MLS Next Pro, which launched in 2022 as a way to connect MLS academies to the first team. So mostly, MLS Next Pro, and mostly is key, is made up of MLS reserve teams, MLS 2 teams. But there are some unaffiliated standalone clubs. Now, Next Pro has grown certainly since 2022, both in the number of teams in the league and also in the league's importance. Clubs like the Seattle Sounders and the Columbus Crew have won trophies in the last few seasons, relying on talent that developed on their reserve teams and MLS Next Pro. Now, MLS Next Pro is a Division III league right now, but they could grow into a Division II league as well and operate both a Division II and a Division III league, giving MLS a Division I, II, and III sort of weird closed pyramid structure without movement between those teams. They're D3 right now, but they could hope to continue to grow and have enough teams that it makes sense to divide into D2 and D3 in hopes of capturing the financial benefits that could come with introducing professional soccer to cities across the U.S. that don't have the pro game right now. So last year, I talked with MLS Next Pro president at that stage, Charles Olczyk. He has since moved to a role within Major League Soccer proper. And he told me this. Let me read you this quote. So when we think about the future, talking about MLS Next Pro's future, the way that we've thought about it is as we get to scale is probably 40 or 50 teams over time, then we would consider splitting into 2 divisions and having a second division in addition to the 3rd division that we have now. That is something that Next Pro is thinking about. It will almost certainly look different, Next Pro, in a decade than it does right now. But really, Next Pro at the moment is a 3rd division league that could become an organization split across Division II and Division III under the oversight of MLS. Now, before we move on, if you're not confused already, let me toss in one more MLS wrinkle to all of this. I want to clarify the difference between MLS Next Pro and MLS Next. MLS Next, if you're familiar with it, is MLS's youth academy competition. MLS Next Pro is a Division III league that bridges MLS Next to MLS. Got it? All right, cool. Let's move on. The other Division III men's professional league in the United States right now is USL League One. This is the bottom of the USL's professional pyramid. There are 18 clubs in it for the 2026 season, 5 of which will be brand new. 1 club dropped out of the league after last season. So there's still some shaking and moving and certainly some instability at this level. But the idea is that USL League One will eventually, if USL has their way, be the bottom of the USL's pro pyramid if and when they launch promotion and relegation and their Division I men's league. So that is it. That's the professional men's pyramid in the United States. You've got MLS on top, you've got the USL Championship in Division II, and you have MLS Next Pro and USL League One in Division III, with all of those parties, both MLS and USL, looking to shake and move and add and grow across more levels of the pyramid over time. Now, one more thing I want to do before we close is to look at what's underneath the professional pyramid. Amateur and semi-pro leagues, these don't meet the pro league standards to be considered a professional league by US Soccer. USL does run an amateur semi-pro league in USL League 2, which runs during the summer. It's largely a platform for college players to show their talents and to stay fit over the summer. But there are other types of players in those leagues as well. There's something called the NPSL, which does something very, very similar. They've got about 90 teams across the United States, one of which is crucially called the New Orleans Jesters, which is absolutely phenomenal. They run through the summer a very similar structure to USL League 2. And then there's the collegiate ranks, which is another wrinkle that makes American soccer a little bit different. The NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, is an alternative pathway for players who aren't quite ready to go pro or don't have the opportunity to do so following their youth soccer career. So you can go to college, you can develop as a player and as a person, then you could decide not to continue playing soccer, or you could go back into the pro ranks, either by signing for a USL team or going through the MLS Super Draft. Again, all this is complicated. American soccer is very, very complicated. There are a couple, really there are more than a couple, but a couple of recent examples of very, very talented players coming from the college ranks into American soccer and then moving abroad as well. Moise Bombito, who was drafted by the Colorado Rapids, he has since moved to Nice in Ligue 1. And then Patrick Ajiman, who was drafted by Charlotte FC in MLS, he has since moved to Derby County. He's been playing for the U.S. men's national team as well. Players can come from the college ranks to go back into the professional landscape and move on from there. We've seen it over and over and over again. So there we go. From Division I all the way down to the amateur level, that is a look at the United States' weird, misshapen soccer pyramid. The pyramid or the leagues within it are almost certain to change in one form or another over the next several years. But for now, this is what we've got. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you again soon.